The home you're going to grow up with your kids and family is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. We've got an expert in the building here today. Everybody's going to talk to us about how you can make that decision the right way. Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show. And we get to have experts on from all different segments of our expertise, areas of expertise in our little world here. Today we want to talk real estate, something that's a little bit close to my heart. My family's been involved with real estate and the such for many years. I own some properties. Have my mortgage license. We got to renew that here real soon. But we've asked Jamila Luaders to join us in studio here today, and I've actually gotten to know your husband, and he's a big Cardinal fan, and Carter, and great name. Carter, and learn a little bit of that. But when we figured out we wanted to talk about real estate a little bit, we decided, hey, let's reach out to Jamila. She's one of the top realtors you'll find in the area, and the reviews are off the charts too. She's got 73 5-star reviews, nothing less than a 5-star out there. But with that, we'll say welcome, Jamila. Thank you for joining us in the Your Little Castle studio.
Thank you for having me.
Well, with that, we want to give a shout out to Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle, and in that little castle, your realtor might have been Jamila on that.
Yes.
But give a shout out to Carroll House. With that, we're going to put up. You've got a beautiful Facebook page and a great looking website, and we're going to show the reviews too. But again, thank you for joining us here in our studio. Welcome, and tell me. So, what is it that led you to the real estate world? Why did you decide to?
Well, I've always liked talking with people, meeting new people, building long-lasting relationships. Always had an interest in homes, looking at homes, and staying up with the market. And also I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs, and so owning my own business just came natural to me. Yeah,
well, if you're going to own a business, it might as well be selling homes, because. Right. Number one, they're high-ticket items, so then the money you can make is nice. But also, more than that, I think it's more important for most realtors do it. Kind of like teachers, you really are getting to help a family make the decision, become educated, if you will, about the region they're going to move into, the schools that are close to where they're at, the amenities, the parks, the other exciting thing, like if they want to play ball, what are the baseball fields like? But you have to become educated on all of that, and then help that to convey that to. Why did you decide to get into this, and what is it ultimately that started you off on this path?
Well, I've had family members that have always been in the business, and I always liked helping people and reaching the dream ownership. That to own a home. And
yeah, well, owning a home is the American dream, right?
Right.
And so how many homes by now do you think you've helped people to buy? You've been doing this for quite a while.
It's been probably around 180.
Oh, wow! So you're almost
yes.
almost 200 homes you've helped families to. And what I'm getting off tangent here a little bit, because I'm a little curious. We haven't had that many realtors in the studio, but you have to get to know that family and what their real needs are, right?
Yes.
And every family has a different set of needs. What is it that you end up ultimately helping them through that? What's that process like to walk somebody through that, becoming a homeowner, especially if they're the first time and they've got a family and all that?
Right. So getting to know their needs, what exactly is important to them, being a good listener, being patient, and just listening.
Yeah, listen, everybody. That's why God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, right?
I mean, yeah, and just building that trust with them.
Okay. Yeah, and again, back to almost 7 years in the industry now, and almost 200 homes, 200 families you've helped. You've become a bit of an expert with this.
Yes.
Why did you decide to make this the path you stuck with for now, making this a career? It's something where you continue to help people. What do you enjoy most about it?
Oh, my passion. I once again love helping people and just being their lifelong realtor, somebody that they can go to, helping educate them through the process, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, it's something that, like I said, is a big decision for a lot of people to make, and when they're getting into this, and then what part of what school districts, what's the biggest question that people have? Is it school districts? Is it
That depends, you know. I mean, if you're a family or going to be a growing family, so yes,
Right.
yeah, the school districts, you know, the safety of where they are,
Okay.
being close. You know, a lot of people want to be close near to their jobs,
Okay.
close to their jobs, and also close to maybe stores. Or if you're just a single person, you know, you might want to, you know, be in a neighborhood with a lot of other, you know, younger couples or
Yeah, keep up with
whatever.
activities and
Yeah.
things you can do in the community.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and it seems to me like I didn't realize. So then you got to learn the highway system a little bit in St. Louis, right?
Oh,
270
yes.
goes all the way around.
Yes.
Highway 44 south, 55 way
Yes.
south, 40, 70. And so when people start asking you, then you're like, okay, well I've got this neighborhood. You know where many of the neighborhoods are throughout St. Louis and where they're
I do.
located and the access they have.
Yes.
That's somebody who stays on the ball. That's the kind of stuff that
Yes.
they will study. I'm going to go over this with everybody quickly about the reviews you have, but first I wanted to ask you a little bit more about when you're actually during that process. When is it you say this neighborhood versus that neighborhood? Do you have like a score sheet, or do you kind of look at what's available in the market and what looks based on, because I guess it's limited.
Yeah, you're never allowed to tell them, you know, that area is maybe higher crime or such. So I always have them research that. However, I just, once again, mainly they ask, you know, if where they're going, I mean, where they work is important to them, being close, you know, by,
Yeah.
and raising their family. So really, that's what helps us determine, you know, do you like country life? Do you, you know, a little bit quieter, no subdivisions? A lot of people, they're like, I don't want an HOA and I don't want to look, you know, right at my neighbor. Then a lot of them are, you know, want to be in the city. So
Okay,
just
yeah.
depends.
So it really, then you're getting into, and obviously it's like one story versus two story, but it's more
Oh,
important. More important many times is for the proximity they are to their neighbor. Because I know like some neighborhoods, I won't name anybody I know specifically, but like you could jump from one house to the next roof, and so they're pretty close to each other and the property. But people HOAs, I know, are some concern. I didn't know how many
big time.
people bring up the question about HOAs to you.
Almost every client.
Really?
I'm not kidding. Yes.
Okay. What's the biggest hang up or concern with HOAs?
Rules, you know, can they, you know, have a fence? Can they add on? Also, just, yeah, what rules, like maybe if they have extra vehicles
is
or
it
campers, or
right?
can they park on the street, or yeah.
Or allowed to have sub rent to on
Also
Airbnb?
rentals, you know, is there a lot of rentals in the, you know, neighborhood?
There are people that will, some of the rules have been changed. Now, we run a couple Airbnbs, but I've been told now that like you have to be a resident of the Airbnb that you live in, so you're renting out a room. Do people try to do that very often? And some people, they say, well, I don't want to be in a neighborhood that has a lot of those, or other people will be like, well, that's why reason I would want to be in that neighborhood, because then I can rent out rooms within my house and make a few extra bucks. These are all things that people think about. How many of these questions do you get from people?
Well, yeah. Some people, you know, they like to, so that they like to have 2 families or 4 families so that they can live in one of the units.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and then use the others as income.
Yeah,
So I have a lot of that. I work with a lot of investors, and yes.
So how often are the investors the ones you got to build the relationships with, then? Because you're going to find out where they're building these particular. Is this like a duplex, or what do they call these? Family
They usually come, you know.
apartments? Or?
Yeah. I work with selling like, no, more 2 families, 4 families. I work with a lot of out of state and out of country investors that want to invest here because, you know, it's affordable. So that it's, yeah.
So St. Louis, you say, is affordable. Is St. Louis one of the most affordable markets in the country
yes.
too? What are some of the benefits of living and getting a house in St. Louis then?
Well, I mean, the affordables, the rents are good. Having great universities here, hospitals, a lot. It's a great place to raise a family, but if you're a single person, it's, you know, good for them too.
So we've got that mix of a little bit of everything. But is it true, like if you buy a 2,000 square foot house in California or New York, you're $1 million? You buy
way above. I have clients
Okay.
in California, and yes, their house, they bought it way less than $1 million, and it's worth about $1.5 million to $2 million now. So when they come here, or, you know, whenever I help them, and they see, you know, a 4 family that they can get maybe $200,000 to $400,000, they're like, wow, you know, I want to buy like my one client in California, he bought like 3 at the same time because, wow. Yeah. And he's really happy with the rents and things that he gets here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you become a bit of an investment advisor to help people find the right spot so they can get the right total. I mean, if you're doing the math and you're like, okay, if we can rent these 3 pieces out.
I help them with all that. Yes.
Okay. That's quite a bit. She's an expert with business as well, everybody. You have to know your numbers when it gets down to it. With that, I'm going to show off your website a little bit to everybody, but I want to jump to the reviews we've got here because this was kind of shocking, and we get to see people who work hard to get reviews, but it's hard to get 73. I can tell you my personal story with why we have paid attention to our reviews, but take a look here though. But 72 reviews. I say 73. 73. We're based out of the Kirkwood area there, South Geyer.
Yes.
And you can see here just review after review. And some of these people are tagging pictures and writing paragraphs. Gosh, and I start to look at some of these. Jamila is the ultimate real estate rep. She's the sweetest and most diligent person. I felt so comfortable with her from the start. She's knowledgeable and energetic that you just know you will be taken care of. And with the utmost, and she goes on, professionalism and a lot of heart thrown in. I was privileged to have her take care of me, and I acquired a dear friend in the process. You are very lucky to have her. She is great. How's that make you feel to see people write? I mean, that's
awesome.
That was heartfelt right there.
Nancy, I loved working with her because her son was out of state and she had lost her husband, and so he wanted her to be with her. So she was a referral. Most of my business is referral based, and I love helping the elderly and just make them feel comfortable, slowing down the process for them and truly listening to them because, you know, they have emotional attachment. She had built that home with her husband, so she really was kind of torn, but she knew she wanted to not be here alone and be with her son. So it was just great. I helped her, you know, get contractors in there and help her get the most for her home. We got it under contract within a couple of days. And her son, from afar, he appreciated that I helped his mom every step of the way. Even at the beginning of the process, I scheduled a Zoom call so I could meet him and his wife and the mom sit there because I wanted him to, you know, get to know me and feel that he could trust me with his mom. So.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of relationship building that goes on here, and you're developing.
Big time.
And there's a lot that goes into this. I'm starting to well up a little bit. I'm seeing some of the effect that you've had on some of these people. What's it like getting to know people? And then obviously that's part of the business, but you want to gain that respect from your clients. And become your friends.
I always say when I say long-lasting, trusted relationships, I mean that because a lot of them become my family friends after that. I keep up with my past buyers and sellers and always check on them, and I like being a part of all their, you know, their chapters in life, and it's cool because they'll invite me over to see, you know, or send me pictures of what they've done with the house, and you know, if they've had a baby, I get to go over there and be there with them. I love it.
Well, and with that, I was going to say then also another component of this, because people are upgrading or are doing fixes or making changes to the house before they sell it. You've also got to build relationships with contractors. And she said you referred a bunch of people. What's that process like?
Oh, I mean, I have a list of vendors, trusted vendors. I'm very, very particular with that and who's going to be taking care of my clients. So anything they need, they still reach out to me years later. They're like, Jamila, can you help me with a plumber? Can you help me, you know, get somebody over here for roofing or whatever? I tell them from the start, when you meet me, I'm your forever realtor. You know, I'm not going anywhere. You know, so. And
I guess does Dan help you with that relationship too? Because Dan's got a background with that too.
Yeah, he can at times. Yep, absolutely.
Both of you work together on that too. Pretty excited to see the relationship, and I know Dan is just a heartfelt gentleman who helps people too, and overcome some obstacles in life and helps other people to do the same. It's a small community, everybody. You better be nice because we'll find out if you're not a good person for sure, real quick, right? That's why it's good people stick together. With that, we're going to show you some of the fun we are partaking in the community. Check out a little bit of what the fun we had down at Busch Stadium here. Check it out. All right, everybody, we're outside of patios. This is where all the best baseball fans go. Get a good picture right there of patios there. I'm paying my camera guy here. Sonny, we agreed to pay you double what we paid you last time, right? All right, we all know how much that is. So a little bit of the excitement we had here the other day, annually we make a trophy, right? This trophy right here is this year's trophy. It does get a little weathered, let's just say, over time. And I happen to have decided, I had a guy come up to me and goes, hey Cowboy, what's up? I told him I'd come back. I did come back. A lot of times when I get caught up, but that happened to initiate. He goes, what's up with the trophy? I said, well, we do kind of a dedication. It's in memory of my father who raised me on baseball, right? Which is a great thing to be raised on. And I signed it right there. And then as I signed it, I put Braxton, and I dedicated it, Braxton Rethers. That's my dad. 38 seconds later, I go walking down. I see a youngster who's got, this is the same hat you were wearing that game? And I go up to him, I'm like, hey, what's your name? We got to do a cheer. Go ahead and hold the trophy for me. And I always get somebody, Carl, what's up, brother? I always get everybody's first name. And I say, what's your first name? What's your first name?
Braxton.
His first name is Braxton, everybody. If you don't believe there's some higher power stuff going on this little planet, the odds of somebody also being the name Braxton 38 seconds after I put my dad's name, who happens to be Braxton, there's something going on. So that brings us all.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. It takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So there we have it, everybody. A lot of the fun we get to partake in the community and how media has changed the way the world evolves. And that's where you say, look at somebody like Jamila here. She's put together great reviews, a great Facebook page, and a beautiful website. These are the resources you need to have these days to keep up in our modern day technology world. Give me a quick cost analysis, if you will. I mean, there's other people out there like, I'm going to sell my house myself. I tried that for a minute, then found out you just don't have, you talked about it, we got a little break there, the resources to make sure, because you've got a big team behind you. It's not just you, it's all of what you bring. You're part of Keller Williams, right?
Yeah.
And all of it that they bring. Why would somebody, what kind of mistake is somebody making when they do that? And I've got a few things I can.
Well, I mean, we will run comps in your area to make sure that, you're getting, you might sell your home for a lot less, or you may overprice it. So we help determine, the best list price, for you. And also just coming in, walking around and because a lot of times sellers think that they got to fix this, they got to fix that and fix this, and that adds value, when a lot of times that's not necessarily true. So they'll over, they'll put too much into, over.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money they don't need to spend just to try to get something that isn't going to return, not to return on their investment.
Yeah,
And it's true that, like, some people, I've heard the strategy, but if you think about it, if I sell a house, it's $250,000. Let's say $300,000 for even numbers. $300,000 house. I think the average is around $400,000 now, but $300,000.
Where you're at,
it depends. But if they sell it for $270,000, but and they would have had a realtor that would have helped them, that's going to take a 3%, 4%, 5% out of that, because they're still going to have to pay on the other end to the buyer's realtor. They're going to end up costing themselves quite a bit more because they try to save money by doing it themselves. Is that a problem a lot of people have?
Oh, yes. And, what I always say is, don't price too high, too low, just in between, because a lot of times, they'll want the top dollar, and we will work our hardest to get them the top dollar, but just, you want to bring people in to look at your home. And if you have it too high priced, they're not going to. So with that said, you'll get more people coming through, and a lot of times, you'll get over.
Yeah, so then you create a bidding war. So then people say, "Oh, well, I'll give you $10,000 more than what you're asking," but you got to get them in before, so they can realize that.
Right, and a lot of times they get, the multiple offer situation, or what they wanted from this, from
interesting
the start.
Strategy here, everybody. She's sharing some of her secrets a little bit, but that's an interesting method, because a lot of people, I'm going to just start it up here, and somebody might bite up here. Well, they don't even come to look at it, so they can create that.
Yeah, and then whenever you
market.
keep doing price reductions, because buyers do watch that. Oh, I saw that they did a 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and it's just best to start with pricing it in between, right in between, not too high and too low. So. And
that's something you can help with, because you've got access to the comps from everything available and all around the neighborhood, and can make sure that people do.
And then your home can sit longer. So most of the times, if your home's sitting for a long time, it's either priced too high or the condition. So. Yeah,
once some people see a house has been on the market for 100 days in this market, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
That'll cause you to lose money then too. Well, tell me, why should somebody choose you, Jamila? Why should we'll put it up on the screen here for everybody? But it says on here, as I wait, come on, I'll put it up there for you. Sold with Jamila. Why should somebody choose you?
Because I'm hardworking, I'm a determined individual, and I follow through. I'm trustworthy, and when you're working with me from start to finish. So.
And you've got an entire process here. All the systems are in place, and somebody's been doing this for as long as you have. Because I was in a stressful situation. I'll confess this, and we haven't had any realtors on here to talk about this before, but buddy of mine has his license. So I started off with, he was just going to list it for me, and I was going to give him $500 or something like that. Well, that didn't work out. Well, the problem I run into is my house that I'm moving into now, that I moved into then, was getting built and was going to be completed. So I was looking at having potentially 2 mortgage payments for 2 separate houses, because I was messing around with getting a realtor. And I had one realtor come in, and he says, 7%. And I said, okay, you seem like you're good. And a gal that knew my mom, who I talked to, I forget her name now at this point, but she said, I'll do it for 6 or 5 or whatever. She gave me a little bit of a discount, but bottom line is, she knew the market, she knew who to work with, and she knew where to get this thing done. This is what you bring to the table for people, so they can figure out how to cut through this, because you don't want to have 2 mortgage payments coming up at the same time.
Exactly. So the minute that I sit down with you, after I speak with you, and then schedule a listing appointment with you, I already, you know, I already tell people that, I mean, I'm in an office with a few hundred agents and high producing agents, and they have buyers that are looking for possibly what, you know, what that home, you know, that I may be sitting there with them. I already have people in mind, and I always right away, I mean, I put it out in, you know, my office, and just
And all the resources that you've got through Keller Williams and
yeah,
everything. A beautiful website too.
market. I'm heavy on marketing. I'm on a lot of social media places, and you know, I hire, you know, only very top professional, you know, stagers. You know, if the client decides to do so, and you know, photography. And the minute that I meet with you is the minute I start working. So
that's what we need, somebody dedicated to the process and to make sure we get this done. I'm going to put up on the wall for everybody to take a look at. Here is that website. And I said, I build websites, and I can tell you this website is robust and amazing. So good job on your website here. I'm going to take off the title there so they can really see this. But you can buy, sell, or let's connect. There's a picture there. I told you I was a supermodel in the studio here today, everybody.
You're nice.
And I'm looking at, wow, you've had millions of houses and millions of dollars in houses sold. But you have all kinds of information here that really helps them to pertain. But if they wanted to do a search for a house right here, looking to sell or looking to buy, you've got a hook right there. Then they can just pick the region they want to select from, and then say, hey, there it is. And you've got all across the country people can.
Very user friendly.
Very user. You know, make it so that people
another thing I really invested in. So.
Yeah, and I know that websites, boy, they can be very robust and look beautiful and not be effective, or they can have a lot of information on them that do help you to make all of the components come together. But you've done a great job there.
Thank you.
And have a great looking website. With that, we're about a minute left here. So tell me, why should somebody be happy to work with such an established agent like yourself here in St. Louis?
Because you are going to get the results that you want. And I promise you that. I promise to follow through. Communication is huge. That's been lost a lot in our industry. Communication, not following up, not following through.
Yeah, I was going to say, in prepping for our show here, Jamila and I went back and forth a number of times. She listed all the questions and all of her answers, and was very thorough.
I am very thorough and detailed.
That's a testimony to the fact that you are going to be very thorough with what you do, and you wanted to be prepared for this like you would be for any kind of home purchase. And people should expect the same for you buying a house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trust is key, and that's very important to me. And I want you to feel, I want us to connect, you know, and if we don't, I'll be honest, you know, with you if I don't think I'm going to be a good fit for you. So far, I've had success with that, but
and you're ranked among the top realtors in the region and in the country and in the city, and metro area, and always doing well, producing well to get those results too.
I sure try.
That's right. Well, you can see the results there. Sold with Jamila, and your trusted real estate agent expert here in St. Louis. Everybody, stay tuned. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.